over here. Maybe you can help me. Actually, I would like to see if you can help me.
Okay.
I was going to make chocolate chip cookies for my children today.
Yes.
A nice welcome home from school treat.
Yes.
Now, the recipe I have, the recipe that goes hard every time, high altitude flour. I don't have that. What can I do to make it high altitude flour? Like, do I add some extra baking soda, baking powder?
I didn't even know there was a thing called high altitude flour.
Oh yeah, you can buy it at any store.
No.
Oh, it helps your cooking.
I'm sure it does.
Baking.
But high altitude, if you're doing chocolate chip cookies, I would decrease the sugar content just a little bit and add 2 tablespoons of water.
For high altitude?
And probably a little bit more flour. Yeah.
This says 2 tablespoons of high protein flour should be added to regular flour to make it high altitude.
But I
that's
think
what Google says.
Yes, I would believe that to replace high altitude flour. I've never even cooked with that.
But you know how sometimes
I cook
recipes,
with high altitude instructions.
Yeah,
on
like
cookies,
that.
And they work out great.
Well, this doesn't help me. I have to buy high altitude flour. It really does make a difference in this batch of cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good.
I have never even seen it.
Yeah, it's you have to look for it. And I think there's only one brand that does it.
What's in it?
Obviously it's super expensive.
I know, but what's in it? Because it's got to be like
it's extra. It looks like it's extra protein.
Like something's added to it.
Okay. Well, do you?
I do.
Do you really
I
want to know?
Deep dive it.
The flour is okay. So high altitude flour. The flour is milled from hard wheat from Colorado, the Dakotas, and Montana. So the high altitude refers to where the grain is grown, which has extra proteins in it or something.
You know what it sounds like? Something they can charge you extra
Money
for.
grab.
Yes, it sounds like something they can charge you extra
I
for.
have made these cookies though with regular flour and they're not as good.
Yeah,
so the high altitude flour does make a difference.
I totally agree with high altitude cooking, like doing the high altitude instructions. It makes a huge difference here.
I just wish I could throw in some extra baking soda to make it high altitude flour. Like,
yeah,
it should be easy.
If that's your shtick,
I have to find
would
grains
just go
grown
get
in Montana.
Yeah,
okay.
Stop. Yes.
No, all-purpose flour is garbage for this recipe.
For this particular recipe.
Oh, do you know why I'm making them? Is that I got some Ghirardelli on sale chocolate chips.
They're so good ones. Dude, aren't they so
good? They're
out
out of date, but they're still fine.
How are they out of date? They're yes.
Nothing but the best for my kids.
The rabbit hole on your dumb flour, but you're gonna use expired chocolate chip.
The Ghirardelli chocolate chips, they're not expired, but they're in the discount bin. They expire in like a month, so I'm gonna bake with them today.
Still from Christmas,
yeah,
totally. yeah.
Yep.
I have a little piece of chocolate like after most things. You know that I'm eating Ghirardelli chocolate chips after like lunch and dinner. I'll have like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because it's really my Christmas chocolate left.
Do you want me to bring you some cookies if I make them today?
Yes.
And you'll be like, ooh, high altitude-y.
Oh, this tastes really like you know what? I lost my breath. I'm lacking oxygen while I eat these cookies. I'm at such a high altitude.
Do you know how much more fun that conversation was than the Grammys?
Okay, Grammys. Let's get into it just a little bit. Everybody's talking about Beyonce. What are we going to say that's different than Beyonce? Well, all right. You're right, Penny. You're absolutely right. Beyonce didn't deserve the award.
Made them crappy.
It really like... The doing the Dolly, I'm going to talk about that, that remade song. I'm going to talk about Dolly and Jolene. The idea that Dolly Parton wrote that song as a woman who is saying, look, I am not disparaging another woman. I'm just saying, look, I love this man so much. Please don't take. She was in a vulnerable position when she wrote it. I cannot stand when Beyonce does it as like, I'm warning you, you better not take my man like this, like aggressive. Like, I get that that's your
her take
on it.
Yep.
But the song wasn't written that way and it was Dolly. So I just have a ton of problems with the idea that like she's super talented. But coming in and just being like, I want to do this now. I've said before, she has a song called Daddy Issues that has a real country kind of like almost like a New Orleans style to it. That's awesome. So she kind of dips into that genre a little bit. And I think artists should do whatever they want. It just felt like such an easy thing for the Grammys to say, let's get some attention.
But then
these
why
award
not?
Shows are rigged.
But then why not take the attitude of Casey Musgrave where she's like, more the better. Everybody's welcome. Just start. There's a room. Just bring it. You want to be a country singer? Bring it.
Yeah.
We got room for you.
I think that
so
yes.
Why isn't that hitting for a lot of people?
Because she won a Grammy for it. She's not just coming into the music and making, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt very much like, I'm going to do this. Now, next year, what's not saying that, like, I'm going to do a comedy album and win a Grammy. So it just felt like it was
But
really
if it's a good comedy album,
opportunistic.
why shouldn't she win a Grammy for it?
Was it a good album?
I haven't heard it. To win album of the year, I get. Okay.
Yeah.
Beyonce's huge. Everybody bought the album. It was a huge album. Now,
Was it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was
Or
a
was
big
it
album.
just talked about as being a really big album?
No, I think it was big. I think a lot of people bought it. It wasn't like, you know, probably like a Post Malone situation who had the biggest
F1
album
trillion.
of the year. But my point is, I don't like Beyonce's country music. You know, we played whatever song we played for a minute. What was it?
Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. Okay, it's, you know, you listen to it and you're like, okay, that's country. You don't have to like it. I have a hard time that album beating out Chris Stapleton for country album of the year. That album beating out the Casey Musgrave, Delaney Wilson. That to me is a bigger failure, or, you know, makes me more sad than her winning album of the year, all genre. Because her album, you know, could go over there. It's such.
We can say whatever we want about.
Yeah,
we can go into
totally.
like logic, but there's not logic. This award show, like most of them, are the Super Bowl this year. It is, the storyline is a three-peat. So guess what we're gonna get, right? The storyline this last year was Beyonce's country album. So guess what we got? I think we are so, for lack of a better term, thirsty. We are so ready for something to be authentic. And so when you see an artist like a Casey Musgraves, who does not get a lot of airplay either, and none of her fans are coming out and like, you know, songs get on the radio because people want to hear them, or they don't, or they're tested at a level of like what people want to hear. It's massively, you know, mass listened to population, like the song itself. So when Casey Musgraves isn't getting played, it's because it's not appealing to everybody on commercial radio, but she's still a super talented artist. So I love that she wins awards. That being said, with Beyonce, I felt like it was such an opportunistic thing for the Grammys to give her the award to get attention, like so many award shows do.
So many award shows. It's all politics. There's so many things that are going on. This was the first, when we were texting last night during the Grammys, you know, having our funny, witty comments about it. This was the first,
So funny.
the first inkling that, you know, you're like, oh, the Grammys are rigged. You know, it's just not a fair process. The best aren't winning. Chappell Roan winning Best New Artist, I thought nailed it there.
That's a great category.
That's a great such a great category.
So many
And
great
for her
artists in
winning that,
category.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I did too. I loved her speech.
Yes.
Talking about like putting
She had the best
pressure on
speech.
labels of
I
like provide
loved
health
it.
insurance. I was like, this is where, like, using your voice. I was all on board with that.
But this was the
All of
first
that.
award of the night that you're like, something is wrong here. Best country solo performance, up for it. Beyonce, 16 Carriages. Chris Stapleton, It Takes a Woman. Jelly Roll, I Am Not Okay, banger. Casey Musgraves, The Architect, huge. Shabuzi, A Bar Song. Who's winning that category, you guys? And who won? Chris Stapleton, It Takes a Woman.
I don't know that
Sing
song.
it. Do you know it?
Do you
I don't know
that
it.
song?
And
So it's like, okay, is it more artistic? Great. Like, here's what I hate too. I even feel
But
a little bit
you've got-
critical talking about this.
for solo performance, you've got a song nobody knows. Like, yes, people know the song, but
That's not a radio. It doesn't have to be a radio.
it doesn't have
It could
to
be any. Yeah, it could be
But-
what they said, because they're submitting. So that's probably where it was celebrated, you know?
But to beat Jelly Roll, I Am Not Okay,
That's
or
such a great song.
Shabuzi, A Bar Song, the biggest song this year,
Yeah.
still number one, making records. I mean, 27 weeks at number one,
Okay.
biggest song ever.
Are we going to be looking at, in the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of award shows just being done? Like having them happen?
No,
Are people that interested? I will never
we've been
forget
saying
your
it for
point.
years.
But I'll never forget your point of, like, we used to watch award shows and see our favorite artists for the first time and like, oh, they look at their style now or something like that. Now we get to see them all of the time on social media.
Yes,
And
yep,
so
yep.
unless you get these performances like Chappell Roan last night, who put on a spectacular stage show, whether you liked it or not, that was a performance. Sabrina Carpenter,
doing it.
performance, like
Yeah.
did it, you know?
Yep.
But then you look at these pure moments that should be for an award show. And I know that I'm a super fan, but insert anybody here. Lifetime Achievement Award going to Prince. And it happens at a ceremony before. Like, that's where you could be like, we could have done something so cool with artists that you don't get to see all the time, you know, doing some sort of tribute.
They could only do one tribute last night, and it was a 30-minute tribute to Quincy Jones.
Right.
There was only room for one tribute, Tracy.
Valid.
Pink, or not Pink. Prince got bumped.
Yeah.
To a ceremony held earlier.
Right. They're already talking to Chalamet about playing him in the next movie.
But that's, you know, then why not push the Prince thing a year out and then have a kick-ass tribute to Prince next Grammys?
I know.
He's dead. He doesn't care. Push it a year.
Oh, he cares. He probably already wrote it. It's in his vault somewhere.
Which artist would they bring out for a tribute for Prince? Because last night's Quincy Jones, Lainey Wilson came out. There were a couple. Janelle Monáe, she ended it with the moonwalk. Oh, we all screamed when she did the moonwalk.
That was cool. Yeah.
Who would you want, and who would you not want to do a tribute for Prince? What would make you scream at the TV?
Monáe in there.
Yeah,
I would definitely put her in there.
Let's put her in all of them.
When I saw Prince right before he died, it was the first time I'd ever seen him full stage show. Janelle Monáe opened for him, and it was just incredible. I think The Weeknd would be fun to have on there. I think Stapleton singing Purple Rain, because you need like a big, like, somebody has to come in and do that. That's got their own sound so much, because you can't try to sound like him.
Ed Sheeran.
Stop putting Ed Sheeran in everything. You tried to make him the Labyrinth guy. Why are you wrecking all of my most important things? Throwing in Ed Sheeran. No disrespect to Ed Sheeran, but oh my God. You can't throw in, if it's a Prince thing, you can't throw in like a Sabrina Carpenter or something like that. You can't.
Why?
Because it's just like you don't get to do that yet. You shut your whole thing like Billy Ray Cyrus. Oh my God. I don't know, man. You guys have a good day.
I'll bring in cookies tomorrow. I'll bring in cookies.
I am very excited for this journey.
If I get the high altitude
you don't
flower.
Need it. You don't need it.
I do.
You don't.
You don't know.
You won't take vitamins because you think everything is fake. You don't need fake flour. All right, put the camera back up. We're still going. No, I'm kidding. Bye, guys.